But can the divine judgment defense give a comprehensive answer to why evil exists in the first place and why it persists at every turn in so many ways? Nope.
Right. So it can explain why, evil is taking place in terms of it's a judgment of God, right? But the first thing to happen, right, that caused it doesn't. The first evil that came in the world that caused it doesn't seem to be able to explain.
Right.
So evil is happening because God is judging, but the beginning of it, the start of it, right? That wasn't a judgment, unless you're going to say that that God judged Adam before he did evil.
Before he judged him, yeah. Yeah. Yes. So it's the whatever begins to exist has a cause. So what's the first cause? What's the first evil cause?
Yeah,
it needs to exist.
Right.
So first, while it is true that the general presence of moral and natural evil forms part of the curse resulting from Adam's disobedience, right, in Genesis 3, not all manifestations of evil are the result of specific infractions of God's moral law, and we see this especially in Job. Why did all these bad things happen to Job? His three friends come along and say, Job, you must have done something evil.
Right. Evil.
Why do you continue to bless God, curse God, and join me in my house of sticks?
That's what his wife said.
Yeah, but Job says, no, I would love it for someone to come along and tell me that I've done something wrong so that I can ask for forgiveness and make amends and have God deal with me justly, but I didn't. So why is this happening? So that's what seems to be the issue here. Think of a man born blind in John 9. Jesus said, it was not that this man sinned or even his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. So again, kind of that aspect of why did this happen? So that God can show that he's a just judge and merciful.
Right. Secondly, while the divine judgment defense certainly explains why evil should be punished once it occurs, it cannot justify the existence of evil in the first place. And this is what the point we were trying to get at just a bit ago. He says we must confer with Paul Helm, who states that it is perfectly consistent with God's justice that no moral evil at all be permitted in this world to start with, right? Nothing demands that God permit evil just so that he can display his justice, right?
So there are objections to divine retribution here. So he says, yet there are those who object or reject altogether the divine retribution associated with the divine justice defense. One objection is that it undermines the love and goodness of God. It charges God with failing to be in kind of this equal opportunity employer of extending his love and mercy and compassion and justice to some, but not to others. But God is not obligated to love all people equally and in the same way, just as we are not. I don't love my wife in the same way that I love other women, hopefully. Yeah. I don't love my children in the same way that I love other kids, but there they are. And then we have different capacities of this love, and there's a reason that we have so many different versions of what we mean when we say love. Now, other languages do better, and they have different words for those things, but when we talk about an obligation to love people here, it doesn't seem like anything's placing a burden on God to love everyone exactly the same way or deal with them exactly the same.
Right. Yeah. And so God is not required to show mercy. Right? Otherwise, if he was required to show mercy, that wouldn't be mercy. Right. That would be justice, right? Exactly. If he was required to do it.
I demand that you pay me a fee. Oh, you paid me a fee? You're free to go. Yeah. I've given you mercy. That's right. That was the deal. That was the requirement.
He says justice involves obligations to the demands of righteousness, right? So obviously a requirement would be justice. God is obligated, he says, by his own righteousness to be just, right? Mercy, however, is that which is freely chosen. Though mercy is part of the intrinsic character of God, he is under no moral obligation to extend his mercy to anybody. And he does so freely, in his own discretion.
And the New Testament authors understand and know this. Paul says that it's by grace that we're saved. It's a free gift of God. lest anyone should boast. It's freely given by God to those he bestows upon it in Ephesians 1 there.
So, Bill Gates, or let's say Elon Musk, the richest man in the world at this point,
right now,
decides to give you $1 million. Well, I can't say, unfair. How come he didn't give me $1 million? Well, it's his million. It's his money. He can do with it whatever he wants, right?
Yeah. We also see that too with the different people who are accepting a free day's or a day's wage for the work of whenever they come in, and the people at the start of the day go, well, why did they get the same amount? I'm able to bless who I want to bless with whatever one. They agreed to work for this amount for this time.
You agreed to work for this amount for this time? Yeah.
So
what's your beef?
Right. So again, God's respecter of property rights and free use of that property. Yeah. So there you go.